USANA lang. And I'm very happy with my decision. So, to start, no, let me share with you my background. When I was in high school, ever since bata ako, hindi talaga ako inclined sa sales, hindi ako inclined sa business. Kasi growing up, I'm one of the people talaga na mahilig magbasa, magsulat, mag-aral. So academically, kahit papano, I'm quite accomplished. And when I was being asked anong gusto kong gawin paglaki ko, sabi ko gusto kong maging lawyer or gusto kong maging film director. So yun yung mga dalawang trip ko sa buhay. So when I was in high school, sabi ko sige na nga lawyer na lang para hindi masyadong weird. Kasi pag film director parang napaka bohemian ng buhay mo. So sabi ko sige maglo-law na lang ako. So I remember when I was in high school, pumasa ako ng Ateneo. They gave me 100% scholarship for economics honors program. And when I told my mom about it, na-disappoint siya. Medyo parang napikon siya sa akin. Sabi niya, ba't ka pa mag-economics honor? Sabi niya, mag-nursing ka na lang. Kapag nurse ka, madali daw maging American citizen. Tapos malaki daw yung sweldo abroad. So I was part of the generation na parang buong sambayanan, nag-nursing yata. So even mga doctors during my time, even mga engineers, they took up nursing as a second course, makapag-US lang. So ako, I had the same landing after high school. Bagsakan ko, I went to UST Nursing, batch 2008 ako graduate. And around the time when we were about to graduate, we were so disappointed nung classmates ko kasi kumalat yung news na nag-recession daw yung US during our time. And overnight, they decided not to hire foreign nurses anymore. So sabi ko patay, I never really thought of working as a nurse here kasi super baba ng pay. Pero sabi ko, alangan namang tumunganga ako while waiting for a visa kasi abutin na daw kami ng 9 years to get a working visa to the States. So sabi ko, alangan naman magantay ako ng 9 years, walang ginagawa. So right after I graduated from UST, I tried applying for a nursing job sa St. Luke's BGC. So when I told them I'm a UST grad, immediately naman pinag-exam ako. In that same day, they gave me a job offer. They offered me something like 6,000 pesos a month. And sabi ko, totoo ba to? 6,000 pesos a month? Sabi ko, UST grad ako And the reason I declined the offer, I actually live in Quezon City. And yung in-applyan ko was in BGC. So I was computing. Sabi ko, grabe, 300 pesos a day. Yung pamasahe ko going back and forth was already 250 pesos. So sabi ko, pambihira, I'm not willing to work for 300 pesos a day. Tapos ang inineto ko, 50 pesos lang. So hindi ako nag-work kaagad right after college. And then one day, I was offered to do USANA. And wala naman akong ginagawa, although parang networking siya. Sabi ko, sige na nga, wala naman mawawala if I listen to it. So I listened to what the products were all about, what the company was all about. And kahit papano, okay naman ako doon sa concept. But when they were asking me to join the business, immediately I said no. Sabi ko, number one, I really don't see myself selling vitamins for a living. Ayoko talaga yung kumakausap ng tao. Napakamahiyain kong tao growing up. So sabi ko parang yung magko-convince, nasali kayo sa business ko, bili kayo ng vitamin sa akin. Sabi ko, masipag naman ako kung masipag, pero that's really not something that I want to do. And secondly, when I got invited to USANA, wala naman akong kapera-pera. So I remember yung pera ko when USANA was presented to me was 50 pesos lang. So in the end, I told my friends, sabi ko, wag mo nang sayangin yung oras mo. I'm really not interested to do your business. Nagkataon lang 11 years ago, before natapos yung presentation, the person who presented USANA to me, tinanong lang niya ako, hindi ko siya kakilala. Siya yung nag-mentor dun sa nag-present sa akin. Sabi niya, ikaw ba Ryan, personally, do you actually see yourself working for the rest of your life? And I was only 21 years old that time when I encountered the question. And to be honest, it really puzzled me. Kasi never ko naman inisip yan, anong gagawin ko for the rest of my life. Pero when I was 21, nung tinanong ako noon, doon ako napaisip, parang, oo nga, mag-work ba talaga ako forever? And immediately I felt parang hindi. Kasi sabi ko 3 years nga lang of OJT work. Sabi ko OJT work pa lang yun, na burnout na ako. Sabi ko how much more yung mag-work from age 21 to 65. And I'm sure you can relate, no? If you're listening to me right now, you've been working for 5 years, 10 years. Imagine having to do that from age 21 to 65. I'm sure hindi mo rin kakayanin. So immediately, sinagot ko 11 years ago. Sabi ko probably not. And then he asked me, parang in-interrupt niya ako. Sabi niya, Ryan, if you don't plan to work for the rest of your life, what do you plan to do? And doon din ako napaisip on the spot, parang oo nga, what do I plan to do kung hindi nga ako mag-work forever? Then I told him, sabi ko siguro nga po, at some point, magbe-business din pag nakaipon. And then he asked me, sige nga Ryan, what sort of business do you plan to get into? And although wala akong idea, I remember telling him, sabi ko siguro I could get into Jollibee or real estate. And then, medyo na-offend ako sa kausap ko, pinagtawanan niya ako, hindi naman kami close. Sabi niya, pambihira ka pala, may pa real estate, Jollibee ka pa. Sabi niya, come on Ryan, kung wala kang lakas ng loob, negosyo for 40,000 pesos, mas lalong wala kang lakas ng loob mag-business for millions of pesos. And ako, I got his point naman. May point naman talaga siya. But what really got me to consider USANA, although initially I really hated the idea, was the last thing he told me, which really made sense to me. Para talaga siyang slap on the face. Sabi niya, you know what Ryan, kung mag-business ka naman din pala at some point in your life, why do you have to wait till you're 50, till you're 60? Sabi niya, kung business naman din pala ang end game mo, why don't you start while you're young? Sabi niya, hindi ba maganda na while you're only 21, matuto kang magsalita, matuto kang kumausap ng tao, magbenta, humawak ng sarili mong negosyo? Unlike most Filipinos daw, kung kailan 50 years old na, 60 years old na, kung kailan tumanda, tsaka pa susubok mag-business. Sabi niya, don't be like that. Sabi niya, it's wiser na mag-business ka while you're 21. And sabi niya, mas wiser naman siguro mag-USANA ka kaysa mag-nursing daw ako para magkano lang. And doon ako na bullseye. So, although wala akong pera, para-paraan, I joined USANA with my business partner din before, si Mentor Raj. And ito rin, no, for all the new people, para wala rin kayong false expectation na when you join USANA, next week, millionaire na kayo. Ito, I'll totally be honest with all of you tonight, no. I actually got started in the business, as I've said, nung January 2009, a year after doing USANA. Doon ako super na burnout. Doon ako parang sobrang na-frustrate sa business na to. Sabi ko, noong September 2010, doon ako natigilan. Sabi ko, grabe, even if you make like 20 to 30,000 a month in the Philippines, sabi ko, parang hindi pala siya ganun kalaki. Sabi ko, I've been doing USANA for a year, pero feeling ko parang hindi naman ako nagbe-breakthrough financially. And nung 2010, 10 years ago, doon ako sobrang napaisip. Sabi ko, grabe, kahit 20 mil, 30 mil, hindi ka pa rin pala mayaman sa Pilipinas. Ako kasi when I was in college, my mom used to give me like 6,000 pesos a month. Yung 6,000 pesos a month ko nung college, nakakapag-Starbucks pa ako, nakakapag-fine dining pa kami ng classmates ko. So when I was young, I really had this idea. Sabi ko, grabe no, pag kumita ako ng 20,000, 30,000 a month, sabi ko, ang yaman-yaman ko na siguro. Pero when the time came that I was making that, when I was already making that amount, doon ako napaisip. Sabi ko, grabe, even 30, 40, 50,000 a month, yung sasabihin mong you're gonna buy your own condo, you're gonna buy your own house, save millions of pesos, make lots of investments. Sabi ko, my God, even 50,000 a month, you cannot afford all those things. And nung 2010, doon ko na-realize, doon ako napaisip. Sabi ko, grabe, in the Philippine setting, no? Kung titingnan nyo yung college literacy rate natin, it's higher than the number of college graduates than the Western countries. Mas maraming college degrees ng Filipinos versus Americans. Pero sabi ko, if you would look around dito sa bansa natin, mapapaisip ka talaga. Bakit ganun? Yung mga tao dito, college graduates naman. Masipag naman, matyaga naman, trabaho ng trabaho for 5 years, 10 years. Pero makikita mo, mga walang pera. 'Di ba? So, for me kasi naniniwala ako kung drug addict ka, kung tamad ka, kung tambay ka sa bahay, you're gonna tell me wala kang pera, it makes sense. Pero if you're gonna tell me you're a college graduate, tapos masipag ka naman, trabaho ka ng trabaho, wala kang pera, it's totally weird. 'Di ba? And kung tutuusin mo, ba't nagkakaganon dito sa Pilipinas? Masipag, matyaga, educated, walang pera. It's really because if you're Filipino and you grew up with Filipino parents, you were always told growing up, lalo na kung yung parents mo hindi business people, you were always told growing up, uy Ryan, hindi tayo mayaman, aral ka ng mabuti. Pag graduate mo, hanap ka ng trabaho. So ikaw, as Pinoy, hindi ka talaga inclined maghanap ng negosyo. 'Di ba? Kung titingnan mo yung Chinese, iba ang orientation nila. They would always tell their kids, uy, mag-aral ka ng mabuti. Pag graduate mo, magtayo ka ng sarili mong business. So that's why if you're Filipino and you joined USANA, pustahan tayo. Lalo na kung 1 month ka pa lang dito, 2 months ka pa lang dito, you're doubting your decision. Dapat ba nag-join ako ng USANA? Dapat ba nag-business ako? Parang hindi ko kaya eh. Pero for me, you're exactly right. As in, maninibago ka talaga dito. It's gonna be a big adjustment on your part. Kasi you were not raised to start your own business. You were not raised to excel in business. You were programmed to work. Maging sweldado, maghanap ng trabaho. That's why ngayon, finally, you have your own business. You're excited about it. But at the same time, you're intimidated, you're overwhelmed. Kaya mo ba to? But here's the thing, no, I have good news for everybody. As I've said, we joined January 2009, September 2011, after 2.5 years, we were able to hit Gold Director. Gold Director, that's like $1,000 weekly. And I remember back in 2011, binalikan ko lahat ng classmates ko na hindi naniwala sa akin noong 2009. So, noong 2009 kasi when we were running for PPPS, lahat ng close friends ko, nilapitan ko. And they all told me, Ryan, balitaan mo na lang kami pag yumaman ka na dyan. Pero wag mo na kaming idamay sa kalokohan mo. 2011, syempre, after hitting Gold Director, I was so excited. Balikan sila. Kasi sabi nila, balikan ko daw pag may result. And noong 2011, most of my friends, they told me, Ryan, tigil-tigilan mo kami sa sana mo. Hindi kami kasing sipag mo. Hindi kami kasing tsaga mo. Pero ako, I always just tell my friends, sabi ko, you know what guys, between the two of us, if you were to actually analyze, mas masipag kayo sa akin, mas matsaga kayo sa akin. Sabi ko, 2.5 years na since graduate tayo, may pa-masters pa kayo in nursing. And trabaho kayo ng trabaho, 2 taon na, mga wala namang kayong pera. Diba? And that's the funny thing about most people. They're willing to work hard on their jobs, pero wala naman silang pera. Diba? So for me, sasabihin nila, sa'yo sana, pag nag-join ka dyan, effort yan. Pag nag-join ka sa'yo sana, kailangan matyaga ka dyan. Pero for me, ba't sa work mo ba, hindi ka ba masipag? Hindi ka ba matyaga? Diba, inaral mo lang naman din yan? Pero for me, this is more worthwhile. This is more worth it. Kasi ang layo ng result. And ito just to share, 7 years after doing Yusana, my story actually got featured in the newspaper. They were asking me in this interview, Ryan, considering you're an introvert, considering mahiyain ka, wala kang alam in sales, wala kang alam in business, how come you were able to succeed in a business like Yusana? And basically, my answer here was all about, sabi ko, number 1, I really don't believe in the concept of linya-linya. Marami kasing nag-join ng Yusana, they cannot give their 100% best dito because instead of performing, at the back of their minds, they always tell themselves, hindi ko linya ang Yusana. Pero for me, at the end of the day, whatever it is naman na you tell yourself na linya mo, hindi mo naman linya yan. Hindi naman yan genetic. Wala naman yan sa DNA mo. Hindi naman yan inborn. That was something na inaral mo lang din at some point. Diba? The tragedy is, inaral mo nga yan, you became an expert in that, but at the end of the day, anong kinahinatnan ng decision mo na kinareer mo yung whatever it is that you made a career of right now. So for me, when I saw Yusana, I really hated the idea, networking. I really hated the idea of doing sales, doing business. Sabi ko, gusto kong maging lawyer. Pero sabi ko, at the same time, although I hated it, I'm a very practical person. If this is where I could make good money, why not? Diba? And secondly, sabi ko, although hindi ko linya ang Yusana, sabi ko, secondly, in this interview, I really don't believe also in comfort zones. In comfort zones kasi is something na sobrang pangit sa Pilipino. Gustong yumaman, gustong umasenso. Pero by the time the opportunity is there, by the time they should be working hard on the opportunity, ayaw naman trumabaho. Mga tamad naman. So sabi ko, when I saw Yusana, hindi ko siya linya. Pero sabi ko, hindi naman ako low IQ, kaya ko naman to aralin. Sabi ko, nursing nga, I really hated it. Naging nurse ako. And sabi ko, secondly, mag-call center, effort naman. Mag-nurse, effort naman. Sabi ko, mag-Yusana, effort naman. Pero sabi ko, at least this industry, kaya akong bayaran based on what I'm worth. Diba? Sabi nga nila sa employment, diba, if you were to choose between Yusana and employment, if you want to know anong future mo sa employment, tingnan mo lang ano bang itsura ng boss mo. Ano bang itsura ng supervisor mo. Kung gano'n lang naman din kaliit yung mga sweldo ng boss-bossan mo, ng mga supervisor mo, gano'n lang naman din kaliit yung sweldo mo by the time you get promoted. Diba? And just the same, hindi ka napapaisip sa trabaho mo. Pero sa Yusana, you already see ano ba yung possible mong earning dito once you start doing well in the business, nag-iisip ka pa. So for me, no, between Yusana and trabaho mo, for me, mas magdalawang isip ka sa ginagawa mo. Diba? Definitely, this business has more to offer than employment. And not only USANA, talaga namang ang breakthrough ng mga tao financially. Diba? Sino ba yung mayayaman? They're all business people. Diba? So right now, I understand, probably you're somebody who's new, hindi mo masyadong gamay itong USANA, pero trust me, lahat to naaaral. Lahat to ipupush mo lang, aaralin mo lang, magigets at magigets mo rin siya. And just to show no, yung ano ba yung long term in this business, ito, 11 years after being in USANA, I started together with my business partner. Wala kaming kaalam-alam. We were introverts, hindi kami marunong magsalita. Pero ito, umaabot naman siya ng parang almost 1 million every 3 weeks. Diba? So sabi ko, the last time I had a reunion with my college friends from UST, Christmas last year. Sabi ko, 10 years out of college. Siyempre, kwentuhan, house life, housework. And most of my classmates, most of them, they're working as charge nurses. Charge nurses. So meaning to say, sa isang ward, sila yung pinaka-senior nurse. Sabi ko, kapag charge nurse ka dito sa Philippines, how much ang average salary? Sabi nila mga Ryan, 30 to 35,000. And doon ako sobrang napaisip. Sabi ko, my God, 30 to 35,000. That's just like 400,000, 450,000 per year. Sabi ko, 450,000 per year, pwede yan kitain ng isang linggo sa USANA. And sabi ko, grabe no, itong mga Pilipino talaga, masipag kung masipag pero hindi nag-iisip. And it was Mentor Edward who said in one training, when I was starting in USANA na hindi pa ganun kalaki yung earnings namin, sabi niya, if you join network marketing, kahit hindi ka pa kumikita ng malaki, actually panalo ka na compared sa mga tao sa labas for 2 reasons. Sabi niya, number 1, it's because yung mga tao sa labas masipag matyaga but they're not aware. They're not aware. Talagang trabaho ng trabaho, walang pupuntahan. So ikaw, although you're not earning well yet, although hindi pa ganun kalaki yung earnings mo dito sa business na to, but at the end of the day, if you were to compare yourself sa mga tao sa labas, ikaw, you already have this awareness. Sila 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, walang pupuntahan yan. They're not aware, they're oblivious. Trabaho ng trabaho pero they're not aware na wala silang pupuntahan. And secondly, sabi ni Mentor Edward, ito talaga yung tumatak sa isip ko when we were still struggling in the business. Sabi niya, kahit hindi ka ba kumikita sa USANA, panalo ka na for the second reason. Yung ibang tao, naghahanap pa lang ng opportunity sa labas, nagmumuni-muni pa lang sa labas, they're cracking their heads, ano bang pwedeng gawin, ano bang pwedeng pagkakitaan online. Ikaw finally, you're already part of something. Aaralin mo na lang, tatrabahuin mo na lang. Pero yung iba wala pa. They're oblivious or they don't know what to do. Ikaw, you're already part of this. And just to share, no, lalo na pandemic, lalo na tayo, most of us, stuck at home and hindi naman tayo makapag-travel. Ito lang, no, something that I share palagi sa mga downlines, lalo na yung mga nag-join ngayong pandemic. Something that we like about USANA, more than the money, is the level of lifestyle that USANA can give you. So, actually, this pandemic, nung first part, medyo nag-enjoy ako kasi last year, sabi ko, parang ang hirap pala. Kasi last year, parang I went to like 9 countries and tinitingnan ko yung calendar ko. Sabi ko, grabe, last year parang I was out of the Philippines for 4 months. And one of the travels, no, early last year, USANA travel to, we were sent to Bali, Indonesia. And actually, hindi mo siya nakakabaliw kasi most Filipinos, they get to go to Bali. Pero ito, less than 24 hours, pagbalik namin ng Bali, my teammates and I, we went to Boracay. Parang incentive trip namin for the team. Sabi ko, grabe itong negosyong to, no? Wala kang ginawa kung hindi mag-travel na mag-travel. And another thing na I really get to enjoy, sabi ko, even places that we did not think of going to, wala naman to sa bucket list namin, we ended up being able to visit. So, ano tong country na to? Last year, USANA sponsored a travel to Cape Town, South Africa. When we first heard, sabi namin, of all places, ba't naman Africa? Ano bang makikita dyan sa Africa? So, kami, nung team ko, we were not excited to go there. Pero after going to Africa, doon kami sobrang nabaliw. Kasi ako, personally, I've been to Europe, I've been to the States several times. Pero sabi ko, parang mas maganda pa tong Africa kaysa US. So, it was mind-blowing. And kami ni Mentor Raj, yung business partner ko, medyo tamad kami gumising sa umaga. So, one thing, no, that we got to experience there, sabi namin, Yung iba kasi parang gigising na maaga, they want to check all the places in Africa. Sabi ko, mag-book na nga lang tayo ng helicopter. Tingnan natin ano bang meron dito. So, alam mo yun, it's such a nice experience na yung, wala lang, mag-hire ka lang ng helicopter kasi trip mo and gusto mo lang maglibot. And sabi ko, these were things na I never thought I'd be able to afford. I never thought I'd be able to experience. Because originally, I set out to work in a hospital. Diba? So sabi ko, because of USANA, because of network marketing, I was able to experience these things. But then again, hard work sa kung hard work. Pero for me, kung ganitong level naman yung kapalit, why not? And another thing that I really like about this business in the long run, when we get to travel, nasanay na din lang kaming mag-business class. And sabi ko, grabe, no? Who would have thought na magbabayad ka, plane ticket, parang 180,000 round trip. Pero sabi ko, if this is the way to enjoy travel, why not? And sabi ko, it's, till now, no, we're still amazed with the level of lifestyle that we get to enjoy because of this business. In one small thing that I really like about USANA, although kababawan to, when you reach the diamond level, this is something that I really appreciate from USANA. Every time we attend conventions, meron kaming pick-up service. So, kunyari, we go to Korea, we go to Singapore, we go to Salt Lake. USANA will always email us a week before asking for our flight details. And meron pick-up service. And sabi ko, every time I see my friends no, na hindi naman nag-USANA, most of them, they ended up working for BPOs also, company. Di ba kapag top performer yung department mo, usually saan ba yung mga incentive trips? It's usually in Batangas, di ba, Tagaytay. So sabi ko, at least itong USANA pag nagpa-travel, ibang level. And ito, alam mo yun, they really know how to treat their best performers well. Kasi kung titingnan mo sa employment, di ba, that's also hard work. That's also something na tinitiis-tiis mo. Pero kung titingnan mo, di ba, what do you get from performing so well? What do you get for doing your job correctly, perfectly? What do you get for going the extra mile? Wala naman, certificate lang. Ma-promote ka man ngayon, magkano? 5%? 10%? Diba? And ngayon, I don't think, diba? Sabi ko, kung considering naman, meron palang ganitong opportunity, why not take this seriously? In another trip talaga, out of all the trips that I've been to, care of USANA, this was in Madrid, Spain, in Executive Diamond trip to. So, nagulat ako, no, pag land namin ng airport, yung USANA, they booked the Westin Palace, Madrid. So, parang it's like a hotel in Spain that used to be a small palace na naging hotel. And yung buong hotel na yun, nilockdown ng USANA, binook ng USANA, for USANA distributors, for the top diamond directors. And sabi ko, grabe, yung USANA, as in, they really know how to treat their best leaders very well. And after I posted this picture, nung gabing yon, I met up with a friend of mine na taga Madrid talaga. Tapos, yung first question niya, sabi niya, Ryan, doon talaga nagpa-event yung company nyo sa hall daw na to? Sabi ko, yeah, bakit? Sabi niya, ang yaman naman ng USANA. Sabi niya yung company daw nila, they thought of doing a recognition dinner there. Nag-back out yung company nila. Sabi ko, bakit naman? Per person daw, lumalabas, ang cheapest menu na pwede mong kunin is something like 27,000 pesos per person. Sabi ko, grabe, 27,000 pesos for a dinner for one person. Diba? USANA was willing to pay for a meal like that para sa amin. And one thing that I really appreciate, no, when you get to travel sa mga trips ng USANA, like what Mentor Clarence was referring to kanina, we get to mingle with the diamond directors from other countries. And dito, actually in the Philippines, nakaka-overwhelm kasi people look up to us. Pero kami, every time we get to travel abroad, doon namin nakikita yung big picture ng USANA. So right now, we're 2-star diamond. Pero when you go abroad, 2-star is like gold director. Doon marami 7-star diamonds, 12-star diamonds, 14-star diamonds. And these are people who have been in USANA for 10, 15, 20 years. Passively, they make like what? Passive income, 3 million, 4 million. even I think 8 million pesos a month. Passive income. You work on something for 10, 15 years, tapos you make a passive income. Sabi ko nga, passive income of 1 million pesos. Diba? I-career mo tong Yusana ng 10 years. I think mas worth it naman to kaysa trabaho mo. Yung trabaho mo, i-career mo yan for 10 years. What can you get? What can they offer you? Diba? Itong Yusana, you're building a business. It's difficult. It's more challenging than your job. Bakit? Kasi the reward is much, much bigger. Diba? And ngayon we're very excited kasi sabi namin 2-star ito ang income. Paano pa kaya ang 5-star, ang 10-star? Initially, we did not think na kaya namin gawin. Initially, just like you, we had doubts kung kaya ba talaga namin mag-build ng network. Diba? Nung nag-start kami, we were actually doubting, totoo ba si Yusana? Hindi ba to scam? Pero after being in Yusana naman for 11 years, talagang the track record of the company is really spotless. Wala ka talagang makikita. Diba? And right now, another thing na dapat i-target nyo if you're new, ako personally, I've been to the home office several times. And sabi ko, next convention, international convention, every year kasi dati nagpapa-convention ng Yusana, but since COVID, wala mo ng mga live convention right now. Pero when you get the chance, maganda you visit the home office. Alam mo yung it boosts your morale, it boosts your confidence, na yung pinipresent mo, what you tell your guests, what you tell your prospects, hindi pala siya script lang, hindi pala siya marketing lang na sinabi sa'yo ng apply mo. Totoo pala siya. Totoo palang ganun ka-high caliber si Yusana. Totoo palang ganun kalupit yung manufacturing process natin. And one advantage of attending conventions, ito something na palagi lang natin kinukwento, pero totoo pala, Dr. Oz is actually a very big fan of Yusana. So sa kanya, hindi siya bayaran na endorser. Dr. Oz, pakisabing maganda sa Yusana. Hindi siya ganun. He's actually a great believer of the products. Diba? And he's actually a very, very popular doctor in the States. And every time he's asked anong magandang vitamins, wala naman siyang ibang sinasabi kung di Yusana lang. Diba? And another person that we got to meet up close, Dr. Wentz. So itong taong to, makikita mo, he's really a genius. Talagang makikita mo yung love niya for science, love niya to make people healthy. Talagang it's really sincere. And so next time, magkaroon tayo ng live convention, make sure that you're gonna be able to attend. And more than the money, apart from mga travels, what I really love about this business is the flexibility. Flexibility of time and yung options that you get to have. So last year, let me share this with all of you. Kasi 10 years na kami sa Yusana last year. And I told my business partner, si Raj, sabi ko, Raj, medyo nababurn out na ako sa Yusana. Parang gusto ko mag-vacation. So I decided, sabi ko mag-US nga muna ako. So I decided, sabi ko sa mom ko, Mami, mag-apply ka nga ng US visa kasi she's not well-traveled, yung mom ko. So she's never been outside Asia before. Sabi ko, Mami, mag-apply ka nga ng US visa, mag-US tayo. Kasi marami rin siyang relatives doon who she has not seen for several years na rin. And ang problem, yung mom ko, she has never worked. So she's a plain housewife. So sabi ko, sige nga, dalhin mo tong Yusana Certificate of Distributorship ko. So pumunta siya sa US Embassy, pinakita lang yung Certificate of Distributorship ko sa Yusana. She was granted a 10-year multiple entry visa. And yun din, even the US Embassy, they know ano ang caliber ng Yusana. And kung titingnan mo, this trip, yung mom ko rin, sabi ko, anyway, hindi naman ako magastos na tao. Talagang bihira ako mag-spend. So, sinurprise ko yung mom ko. Sabi ko, Mami, punta tayong US. So, sabi ko sa kanya, may access ako sa business class lounge. Hindi ko sinabi sa kanya na business class pala talaga kami. So, pagpunta namin ng business class lounge, pag board namin, nagulat siya. Yung first row, business class yung upuan namin. Sabi niya, how much yung seats na to? And when he told her the price, parang pamasahin namin dalawa, almost 400,000 na. Nagulat siya. So hindi siya makapaniwala. Parang gano'n na pala karami talaga yung pera mo. Totoo pala yung Yusana mo. And I remember, on my first 2 years sa Yusana, the person who really relented the most, pinaka-against sa Yusana, was my mom. Sinasabi niya, sayang, sayang, sayang. Kung ano-ano daw yung ginagawa ko, magtrabaho na lang daw ako. Pero right now, wala na rin masabi yung mom ko. Diba? And another thing that I really spend on is yung mga kain-kain, mga when I travel, talagang I really splurge. So, one time, pina-experience ko to sa mom ko when we were in San Francisco. So, there's like a steakhouse na parang 1 month ahead, dapat nakabook ka na. And pagdating ng bill namin, parang umabot siya. Dalawa lang kami, parang 17,000 pesos. So, nagulat din yung mom ko. Sa kanya, hindi siya sanay to be eating meals on na ganitong level. Pero sabi ko personally, I'm very happy na I'm able to give back to my mom. Diba? Sabi ko kung nag-nurse ako sa Pilipinas, my God, ang sweldo ko ngayon 18,000. Malamang frontliner ako, malamang na COVID na ako. Malamang ako yung na-ostracize, diba? Na pinandirihan ng mga tao. And sabi ko, buti na lang 11 years ago, instead of pursuing a call center job, instead of pursuing kung ano-anong racket, sabi ko, I'm very happy na I chose USANA. And right now, if you're young also, marami kasi sa team namin, this is something na we really drive at. Marami sa inyo, I understand, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s. Probably, hindi ka naman entirely breadwinner right now. Probably, with or without USANA, you can get by, you can afford the lifestyle that you want. Pero for me, if you're in your 20s, 30s, ano ba naman if you work extra hard on a business para financially kahit papano you can give back to your parents. Diba? They're not young forever. Diba? Yung mga yan, they're already burnt out. Gusto na rin nila mag-chill. Gusto na rin nila enjoyin yung buhay. But right now, when your parents look at you, ikaw pa nga lang, feeling nila you cannot even take care of yourself. Paano pa kaya sila? So sila, as much as they want to retire, as much as they want to enjoy life, depend on you. Pero how could they? Ikaw, you cannot even take care of yourself. Diba? So right now, if you're young, probably you're not a breadwinner. Probably hindi ka naman destitute, hindi ka naman mahirap. Diba? But then again, siguro maging sensitive ka kahit papaano. It's high time na you give back to your parents. Diba? And if you join USANA naman, you're in your 40s or in your 50s. So, ngayon ka lang namulat sa mundo ng business, sa mundo ng negosyo. Diba? You actually have a smaller window to be successful. Diba? Kasi if you're not gonna be earning hundreds of thousands per month, millions per month, how could you ever afford your dream house, your dream lifestyle? Diba? You were only given one lifetime. Diba? And in this business, actually, that's the exciting thing about USANA. Yung dream house mo, pwede mo nga yan makuha in 5 years, 10 years in this business. Diba? That's the amazing thing about USANA. More than the money, it's the amount of time you're able to save. Instead na abutin ka ng 1 decade, 2 decades, before you're able to earn the amount of money that you want to be earning per month, pwede mo yan kunin sa USANA in like 3 to 5 years. Diba? Meron nga kami, gold director namin, vice president siya ng BDO, si Tita Heidi Gambol. When her son graduated from UP, nakita niya yung son niya, nag-a-apply ng trabaho, pinagalitan niya. Sabi niya, ba't ka ba mag-a-apply ng trabaho? Sabi niya, sus, kung magkatrabaho ka, si Tita Heidi, she's in charge of one department. Sabi niya, yung hinahire nila sa BDO, starting pay is like 22,000. After 7 years in her department, they're averaging 60,000 a month. Sabi niya, naku, kung ganito lang yung pacing ng anak ko, wag na, mag-USANA ka na lang. Mag-networking ka na lang. Sabi ko, grabe, vice president yun ng BDO. Anak niya, pinaaral niya ng UP. And nung pagka-graduate, what did she tell her son? Huwag ka na magtrabaho, mag-networking ka na lang. Wala kang mapapala sa corporate. Diba? And si JC, her son, was lucky na yung nanay niya understands these concepts. So, I'm not sure in your position, are your parents supportive? Are your siblings supportive? Is your wife, is your girlfriend supportive? I'm not entirely sure. But apparently, people who really understand the main deal of this business, talagang they really appreciate what USANA has to give. Ang layo with what corporate can give you. Even traditional businesses, ang layo ng USANA. Diba sabi ko traditional businesses, it sounds wow, it sounds amazing, it sounds more prestigious. Pero sabi ko, naku, kung net income lang pag-uusapan, mag-networking ka na lang, mag-Usana ka na lang. So ito, this is a real story. No? 3 months ago, meron akong friend from UST, and I think 1,000 times ko na siyang presentahan ng Usana. Sabi ko, this time around, didiskarte ako, iba siguro yung closing ko. And I tried a different approach. Sabi ko, after ng presentation, sabi ko, maganda mag-Usana ka para kahit mag-ECQ tayo ulit, you're financially secure. And after telling him that, medyo na-offend siya sa closing ko. Sabi niya, you know what, Ryan, kahit naman mag-ECQ tayo ulit, I'm okay. And I forgot, yung business nga pala niya was mineral water station. So doon ko na-realize, nga naman, kahit ECQ or not, essential business naman siya. Pero hindi ko naman siya tinatanong, all of a sudden, he blurted out. Sabi niya, you know what, Ryan, yung mineral water station ko naman, makes about 5,000 pesos a day. And sabi ko, 5,000 pesos a day? Sabi ko, that's like 150,000 a month. Sabi ko, 150,000 a month? Sabi ko, kahit malaki yung income ko sa Usana, papatulan ko yan kung 150,000 per month. Tapos napaisip ako, sabi ko, teka, yung 5,000 a day mo ba, is that gross income or net? Sabi niya, gross. Sabi ko, magkano yung net? Pag minus mo yung rent, yung tao, yung mineral water, yung filter, yung delivery tricycle mo. Sabi ko, magkano yung net income mo per day? Sabi niya, ano daw, nasa 700 to 1,000. Sabi ko, 700 to 1,000? Napakompute ako, that's what? 20? 30,000 a month? Net income? Sabi ko, ay naku po, kung ganun lang yung income, sabi ko, sa loob-loob ko, hindi ko na sinabi sa kanya, sabi ko, sa loob-loob ko, sana nag-call center ka na lang. Ang puhunan daw niya was 850,000 pesos. Diba? So right now kasi, when you tell your family, you tell your friends na you opened a mineral water station, you opened a grocery store, you opened a barber shop, alam mo yung sa mata nila, very good. Pero for me, ano bang net income ng mga ganyang klaseng negosyo? Diba? Hindi na naman din biro. Siguro barber shop, laundry shop, abutin ka dyan, 1 milyon, 1.5 million, magkano lang ang neto niyan every month? Diba? But then again, when you tell people you joined network marketing, you joined Usana, you're doing this as a business, they would give you a look. Ba't ka naman sumali dyan? Ba't ka naman nagpautos sa mga tao dyan? Diba? But at the end of the day, I tell my downlines, why do you do business ba? Is it to impress other people? Or is it to make money? Kasi kung ang goal mo is to make money, kumita ng malaking net income, naku, wag kang mag-traditional business, mag-networking ka. Mas malaki ang net income